Now, beloved within the Christian church, and this is not just to Seventh-day Adventists. This is to all Christian denominations like the Baptists, the Lutherans, the Methodists, the Episcopalians, the Catholics, the all the Christian or the Protestant denominations, including the Catholic Church. This is taken from Revelation 18, verse 4. It says, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached into heaven, when God have remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. For the cup which she hath filled, to her double. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and merchants of the earth are waxed rich the abundance of her delicacies." Verse 2, "And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory." Now, who is this angel? This angel is Jesus. What is his glory? Righteousness by faith. What is he saying? He's saying that Babylon is fallen. What is fallen? Who is Babylon? This is Babylon, the spiritual Babylon, is a Catholic church and her apostate daughters. Who are her apostate daughters? Baptists, Luther, Methodists, Episcopalians, and other pagan religions, because they believe in spiritual darkness or immortality of the soul and Sunday sacredness. They believe in witchcraft. That's the apostate daughters. So what Jesus said in the New Testament is that he calls these children and these other Christian denominations, he says, "I have sheep that are not of this fold." What is God? Who is God's true church at this time? The Seventh-day Adventist Church. Because the Seventh-day Adventist Church is not Babylon and will never become Babylon. But these apostate daughters, beloved, are in serious trouble unless they come out of Babylon. They cannot be saved in Babylon. They have to come out of her, my people, to be saved. What are her sins? The sins of the papacy. Infant baptism. When the Catholic priests are raping little boys, or homosexuality. You see how the Jesuit Pope Francis is endorsing homosexual gay unions. That's another sin of Babylon. New theology saying that we can overcome our sins. Ecumenicalism, the baptism, Eucharist, and inclusion document of all churches, of the Muslim, the Catholic, and the Jewish church, and the apostate Protestant church, through the charismatic movement, the Pentecostal movement, or apostolic movement, all coming together through Vatican II. What did Vatican II do? It made Christianity more ecumenical and more charismatic, and brought into all the churches utilizing the tool of the Jesuits. The Jesuits tore down the doctrines of the church, the standards of the church, and claimed to help the poor. So my favorite Christian author, named Ellen G. White, in Great Controversy, says, chapter called Differential Reformation, he says that the Jesuits, like Pope Francis now, the new Jesuit Pope, claim to help out the poor. But what he's doing is he's trying to undo the Protestant Reformation. He's trying to undo the protest against papal infallibility. Protestants protest papal infallibility because we teach that the Bible is over conscience, while Catholics teach that papal infallibility is over conscience, not the Bible. So reward her even as she rewarded you. What does she want? What is God asking you to do? To forsake her and burn her with fire. So all of the nations that give their power to the beast for 1 hour, what hour is that? 14 literal days. He's asking those nations that are Protestant nations to reward her even as he's rewarded you, forsake her and burn her with fire and eat her flesh. And that's what we find in Daniel chapter 12. One of her apostate daughters, American League with the evangelical leaders, the apostate evangelical leaders, will hate her, and burn her with fire. They will forsake the papacy and America, and they shall come to their end. Why? Because she has tormented them. She has taken all their financial resources. And that's why all these nations, including America, go bankrupt, because the Catholic Church has toppled their economies. That's why the papacy is the richest economy in the world, and it's also a religious power. That's why the book of James says, "Go to now, you rich men, you adulterers, for your treasures are moth-eaten, your gold is cankered, and have heaped up treasure for the last days." So, that's why they hate her and burn her with fire. And that's why the man of sin, Pope Francis, or any pope that's holding an office when Christ comes back, shall be destroyed with the brightness of God's coming, in flaming fire, destroying them that know not God and obey not the gospel of Christ. The Pope, he believes in some sort of kind of gospel, but it's not the everlasting gospel. He believes in the evangelical, ecumenical, papal gospel. He does not believe in the gospel that really believes in victory over sin. Great Controversy talks clearly, and it says in the chapter called Aims at Papacy that the man-of-sin power of the Catholic Church is actually ready to receive both classes of men. Men that will be saved in their sins and by their works. That's what Martin Luther cried out against so much. He cried against papal indulgences. He said that we're saved by grace through faith alone, and that not of itself is a gift of God, not by works of righteousness we have done, but according to his grace. Titus 3:6-7. Those most Congress and follow in the kingdom. Let them not be deceived with the Antichrist power. Let them give the hearts to Christ. Let them give the straight testimony. Come out of Babylon. And Jesus Christ from our prayer. Amen. Good morning, God bless you, beloved.